It is warm as balls right now, so let's get this done. So, hi, my name's GMMoley, and I get asked a lot, how do I run my first game? One of the most common things I get asked. So this is WAT Do, the first video on my channel, and the first episode in a series that will cover how to do commonly asked GMing things that I get asked. So, this one is, how do I run my first game of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons? It's not that hard. Thank you for becoming a GM, we need more of you. And yeah, trust me, it's not that difficult. You only need a few things. First thing you need, a notebook. Second thing you need, pen. After you've gotten them, find yourself a module. Find yourself like Dragon Eye Spire Peak from the Essentials set. Very, very good. You can go for like the bigger ones, like Out of the Abyss and the like. There is no shame for your first game running a pre-published module. There'll be people going, oh, but if you don't make it yourself, how can you possibly think that you're being a real dungeon master? Yeah, fuck off. No, sorry, that's not how it works. Like, you're learning, so taking as much of that difficulty off yourself and putting it into the hands of someone else is top notch. Second thing you need to understand the system. So the way that Dungeons & Dragons works is you have a d20, ta-da! You declare what you are going to do, you roll the d20, add any modifiers, high numbers good, low numbers bad, GM tells you the result. That's it. That is the framework of d20. And then as the GM, it is more important for you to know where you can find the answer than knowing the answer just off the top of your head. Like, I'm a robot, so I'm pretty good at knowing these things, but you as a new GM, if someone asks you how does exhausted work, then if you know, well, exhausted is in the conditions chapter and conditions is in adventuring, you know where to look. Okay. Then what you need to do, now you know the system and you've chosen your module, take the module you've chosen, go through it with your notebook and your pen. And every time you encounter something that you feel you need to know better, write it down. Make a note wherever you feel you need to brush up on it. And then after you've gone through the whole adventure, cover to cover, then go and look it up. Learn the bits you need to do. Like, my big problem is like environmental hazards and traps. I always get them kind of meh. So if I'm running something that says, you know, this area is incredibly cold, it will cause cold damage if it, you know, as per the cold condition, I'm going to have to look that up. So I write it down. Yeah, and so once you've done that, you've got your notes, go and talk to your players. Now, as a little bit on the side, talk to your players. 98.272% of problems you have with your players can be solved by talking to them like they are adults. If you do that, you will find a lot of your problems will just melt away. So, learn what your players want to play. Learn what characters they want to play. Learn what those characters can do. Get the players to talk to each other as well, so that everyone's kind of on the same page about the expectations of like the tone of the game, where you're going to be running it. Are there any restrictions, like if you're running it in a game shop, are you allowed to swear? Do you have to be a certain volume? How many hours do you have to play in? If you're going to be running it at someone's house, do you have physically enough room to fit that many bodies into the area and roll dice clearly? What are the rules on dice? You know, off the table, does that count? Are you running, excuse me, are you running you're running it digitally, so does everyone have to use dice bots? You know, you have to set these expectations out to begin with, and then from there people can, you know, you can work within that framework. So, system, module, notes, talk to players. Next step, take that information, then look at the bits of the modules that you've got and try and figure out which player would do best in that area. Like which of their characters would be able to do it the best. And if no one shines in that particular area, then you can consider tweaking it and maybe give them a bit of a hand. You don't have to, but it just, you know, it gives you an indicator of like, well, they've got no healer and this area expects them to have a healer. So maybe give them some healing potions or access to an NPC that can heal. You'll find it makes things a lot easier if you think of it in that kind of, this is your moment in the spotlight, yeah, way, rather than, oh, well, an entire group will do this, you know. Because a big thing, this is another aside about player behaviour, a big thing is you want to like you want to encourage good behaviour and ignore bad behaviour. Unless it's objectionable, then you call it the fuck out immediately. But if you encourage good behaviour, good habits, then your players will feed off of that and they will continue to do those good behaviours and good habits. So you've got module, which you've adjusted. You've got the notes on where you think you need to go. You've got the information of what your players are playing and what their characters can do. Then what I do is I write it all up and I make a little document. I mean, if you look on this bad boy, you'll see I've got these tabs. Well, these tell me which bit of paper I need to look at so I know what I'm looking up. I mean, this is what I learned how to do way back when I started playing. I mean, this is the Dungeons and Dragons Black Box Edition rulebook. And this has still got, like, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got notes in the margin that me and my brothers wrote when we were learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons. This is a really cool module, by the way. But yeah, and so you've got all of that stuff. You've got your thing prepared. You've got your players to turn up. And now I will teach you the golden secret rule that separates good games masters from adequate games masters. Keep the game moving. Just keep it moving. It might be a garbage fire the first time you run it. Honestly, like a lot of games are. But so long as you have fun, that's all that matters. Because remember, you are a player in this as well. You just happen to control everyone which isn't those like 4 or 5 named characters. So you need to have fun as well. So keep that in mind. Like, try and keep the game rolling. Try and keep the game moving. If there's something you're not comfortable doing, let your players know. I mean, hopefully they're your friends. Like, I do this as a job, so I have to have a certain level of expectation put on me. But you're doing this as just like, hey, wouldn't this be cool, you know? So yeah, just roll with it. And hopefully you'll have those moments that, you know, so when I was at uni years ago, I ran games which the people who played in those games still bring it up to this day. You know, and there are moments like Ravun Tanash and things like that, which are, for me and my friends who were in that sphere, were just, they were comedy gold. But yeah, so like, hopefully you will get to experience that. And if you don't, try again. Yeah. So if you'd like any more advice, if you'd like any more assistance on what modules might be good, if you want to learn about other systems or whatever, feel free to join the community. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays on Twitch. Links in the doobly-doo. I have a Discord that I'm very active in, as well as my community. Doobly-doo again. I have a Patreon if you want to throw money at me for RPG games and stuff I've designed. But yeah, just please come along, interact, build a community, because ultimately that's all Dungeons and Dragons is. It's a community doing cool things together. And as Jake the dog says, you know, sucking at something is the first step to kind of being sort of good at something. So yeah, thank you once again for wanting to be a DM. And yeah, have fun. Be awesome. Bye-bye.